little that intensity or desire.
That's what happened to Borg, isn't it?
Well, I think what happened to Borg was that he had so little of it. I mean, he used to stay at the same hotel room, eat the same food, practice at the same time. He snapped.
And he lived with his manager almost.
Pretty much, but he was a great person for Bjorn. I mean, I think that was and then that was, by the way, the other reason why I lost guys like Borg, and Connors was struggling in the mid to late 80s as well. He lost a little bit of it. It's hard. You need people to it's tough sometimes to motivate against players that don't give you a lot to motivate against, like a Sampras.
Talk to me about the conduct and all the tantrums and all. I mean, it began at Wimbledon, right?
Yeah, it began at Wimbledon.
And it changed your life. I mean, all of a sudden, you were, after one incident, super bright.
Well, it's actually, before that, when I was 18, I got to the semis, qualified, got to the semis. I was playing a quarterfinal match, the first time I had been on a stadium court. I lost the first set in a tiebreaker to Phil Dent, and I took my Dunlop racket and I started bending it under my sneaker to try to break it, and it wouldn't break. And for the first time in my...
For what reason do we want to break the racket?
I lost the first set. I just wanted to see how flexible they were. And then for the first time in my career, I heard someone boo. So a couple of people boo, and I thought that was funny. I said, what are they booing about? I'm the one that lost the set. I didn't correlate, that you actually act a certain way. So I kicked my racket to the side of the court just to see what the reaction would be. Ooh, I thought it was the funniest thing.
You loved it?
Loved it. The next, I saw my friends after I won the match in 5 sets, was down 2-1 in a break, came back. And I said, these people don't get it. I'm not like that type of person. The next day it was like, upstart, super brat, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, okay, they're just weird in England. They're just different over here. They're totally, they have warm beer and they're very stiff and it's very quiet and all this other stuff at Wimbledon. And so when I came back, I thought, okay, I'll be back in America, everything's cool. But I didn't realize that actually AP, UP, and these UPI, whatever
They all knew about it.
They knew about it. All of a sudden people knew, hey, you're the brat guy.
Right.
So from that point in my life, it totally changed me. But quite a bit for the better.
But you had a reputation. You had how for the better?
For the better, because all of a sudden some in the female race became interested. It became less of a struggle.
You were much more interesting to them then.
Although Stanford humbled me quite a bit, because I actually entered Stanford. I went to Stanford 3 months after I'd gotten to the Wimbledon semifinal. I remained an amateur.
Right.
I felt like I wasn't ready to turn professional yet. So I said, all right, 21 in the world when I entered Stanford. That's pretty good.
Freshman at Stanford, 21 in the world.
Freshman at Stanford, 21 in the world. No luck whatsoever.
No girls.
Just no girls, nothing. I'm just like, what the, So it's like 21's not good enough.
You left Stanford because there were no girls.
Well, no girl. They say 9/10 of the girls in California are good looking, the other 10th go to Stanford.
I don't think so.
Well, maybe it's better now.
But some have said to me about you that I wonder what would have happened if he'd stayed at Stanford and gotten a little more maturity.
No, I don't. I think it was perfect time to leave. Couldn't have been better.
1 year you left.
1 year. I won the NC2As. It was a hard-fought final. A lot of pressure, feeling the pressure of being the favorite and the one that is expected to win. So it prepared me extremely well. It's the best year I ever spent, believe me. And it would have made no sense whatsoever to stay another year. It had nothing to do with staying there.
College education is not a bad thing.
No, but believe me, I made the right decision. And
but Tiger Woods made a different decision. Why is it necessarily right? Just simply because you know what's best for you, and therefore it's the right decision.
That's one reason. And Tiger Woods doesn't run. He doesn't. He can at 40 years old or 45, he can still hit this ball and maybe be one of the top. That's totally different. You have a period from 20 to 30.
Now from 12
that's your
to
time.
30,
or whatever. Well, for the girls, yeah, but it's not quite yet for the men yet. But I mean, come on. I mean, that's another thing. That the comparison between golf and tennis. You can't compare the two. He did what he had to do. I did what I considered to be the right thing. I was amazed at the ineptitude of umpires, to be quite honest, when I came on the circuit. I mean, there'd be guys sleeping during the match at Wimbledon, 75-year-old people that, couldn't see 3-4 feet in front of them. I mean, missing calls by such outrageous amounts and trying to be reasonable for, a lot longer than people would have thought. Let me put it to you this way. It's only through so many, but I can't defend it ultimately. I'm not Pete Sampras and I'm not Bjorn Borg. I couldn't turn away. I'm more like the average Joe that goes out there on a public tennis court and curses and throws his racket.
But you think it was good for you because it allowed you to get girls, or because it created an image and because it was you and it added to your intensity?
There's never been a better way that I can think of to make a living, to be a professional athlete. I mean, that's the reason that, and it brought an attention that made things easier. I was in a position where I was actually, believe it or not, a shy person, so it made things easier for me. And I mean, let's face it, when you're a young kid and trying to be a professional athlete, or you want to be in a band, what do you join the band for? You join the band to get some chicks,
right,
right, and make some money,
yes,
hopefully, and not work for a living.
Yes, I got it.
That's what I did it for.
Right. When you look back at all the tantrums, though, did you just...
I don't look back on them, but,
Okay, but I mean, in the context, having already made the point, exponentially well, that you deserve the honors that you have because of tennis, and that you ought to be honored because of the tennis performance and the 77 titles and all of that.
Right.
At least part of you is performance and behavior on the court in addition to the strokes that you
No question
made.
about it.
Do you regret that at all?
There's certain matches I regret. And I'm sure that if anyone had any guts or balls, they would have, thrown me out of a couple matches.
And you're surprised they didn't, or it was because you were too important to the gate?
Both. I'm not surprised they did it, because they never show me any guts. So why would they suddenly do it now? The only reason I was defaulted once in my career. The only reason I was defaulted is because I didn't know the rules had been changed. My manager didn't tell me. I went down the Australian Open. There's used to be where it was a warning, then point penalty, then game, then match.
Right.
Well, I knew I was, warning, point penalty, and I laced into the guy and figured he'd lose a game. And they said game, set, match, turn fours, and I was like, excuse me? And that was the only time in 16 years that I played on the main circuit that I was defaulted in a match.
But did I hear you say that you think, when you look back, and what you regret some of that because if you might have been a better player if all that hadn't gone on?
And it cost me a couple of huge matches. Like the biggest loss I ever had in my career, the '84 French, I was up 2 sets of love, and I just I let my emotions slip away from me, and it cost me the match. I was totally outplaying Lendl, and it turned his career around, so that now I have to put him in the same breath. I put him in the same area. He won 6 or 7 majors as well. And so what I did was I did someone who I just basically despised, and I made him a great champion. So he's got it somewhere along the line. Maybe when he's 60, he'll thank me a little bit. But I have only myself to blame. But he's also an example. I mean, to me, as difficult at times as we had over the years, he'd eat these guys alive that play in that, like, that won the French Open recently. I mean, he's a far tougher mental player. He became one, and a far fitter player. And I don't see anyone out there that was at his level on the slow surfaces. And
so how do you explain the sad shape of men's tennis?
Well, there's not much personality.
Yeah.
The game has shifted over to Europe. The Boris Becker brought this sudden boom into Germany, and among others. It's hurt that. I think the Davis Cup, the fact that it's not supported, has hurt it. The fact that there's way too many tournaments and people don't know exactly what to look at in terms of standings or the end of the year rankings. They don't have anything to sort of...
Most people don't know who's ranked in the top 10 anymore.
Exactly. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable how far tennis, to me, has gone in the negative way. But everyone pretends like that I'm the one that's saying this. I mean, everyone knows it. Right. This is like saying, did Clinton, obstruct justice and lie? Yeah, everyone knows he did it. Okay, he's not going to be thrown out of office for it, but we all know he did it. Tennis stinks right now. Let's be real. It's a great game, though. So what I'd like to see would be the people, unfortunately, the people are going to remember, Pete Sampras is an example. He's got to take the bull by the horns. I think he owes it to the game. He's gotten a tremendous amount of accolades from the game. I'm throwing out Pete. I don't want to, overuse his name. There's others, Andre Agassi.
But Pete is at the top.